So me and a few friends decided to go on an adventure one night. It was around 12 a.m. when we left. It's about a half-hour drive out of town to this cemetery. So we all packed up the car with our equipment and headed out. As we got to the cemetery, we were greeted with a gate that closed off the entrance, so we had to go on foot the rest of the way. As we got out of the car, we started hearing noises almost immediately. We noticed it sounded like someone hitting a branch on a tree, and as we listened, it was 3 hits every few minutes. So we decided to call out to see if anyone was there, and as to no surprise, no one answered. Now let me mind you, the cemetery is in the middle of nowhere, and as we started walking in past the cemetery gate, we noticed that we all smelled something rotten, the smell of sulfur. We continued to walk in, ignoring the smell, and as we got further in the cemetery, we heard the sound of native drums off in the distance. Now this cemetery is on an island with one way in and one way out, so there's no way anyone could be there. It is a remote area with no one around for miles. As we got to the end of the cemetery, we notice a statue with stained head and missing hand. The rumors of this statue are, firstly, if you stand in front of the statue with your back turned towards it, you will feel a hand touch you. Secondly, if you walk around the statue backwards 3 times with your eyes closed and end up facing the statue, you will see her eyes bleed. And so, we ended up trying our backs turned towards the statue. Nothing for the first few minutes, and I felt a tug on my sweater, so I jumped and panicked a little bit. We did try the second one, and nothing happened, so we stayed for a little while and ended up hearing strange noises some more, as a rope was heard swinging from a tree, but couldn't find the source of the noise. We brought out the spirit box next. We turned on the box and asked it a few questions and got a few responses, and I could have sworn I heard my name come out of the box. So when we asked it if whatever was there knew my name, we got an intelligent response. It says my name clear as day. Asked it if whatever was there, if it knew any of my other friends' names, and it said their names clear as day. So anyways, as we walked out, we started to smell the disgusting sulfur smell again. And as we got to the car, this was about 2:30 a.m. at this point, and when we made it to the car, we stayed at the car for a little bit to see if we could see or hear anything else before we left. We just so happened to look down the long dark road that led ahead and noticed there was something standing in the road. At this point we had all our lights and equipment battery deplenished, so no lights on at all. We continued to look at whatever this figure was down the road, and noticed it had bright glowing orange eyes and was about 6 to 7 feet tall. If it stood up, this figure, whatever it was, walked disorientated and was walking towards us. So we got super spooked by whatever this thing was that was watching us. So we hopped in the car as quickly as we could and turned on the lights as quickly as possible. As we're in the car, we all look at each other as the sign to get the hell out of here. As I start the car won't turn over. We were stuck there until the morning with no cell service and no way to call a tow. So as we all sat in the car, terrified all night, we waited until morning to walk to the end of the road to get service and call the tow. This is the first time I've ever encountered something like this, and we always have such a hard time coming back to that cemetery. We don't know what we saw that day, but we've never spoke about it again since. The chill of the night hung heavy in the air as I stood in the entrance of my seemingly ordinary home. My parents were away for the weekend, leaving me alone to enjoy some solitude. The prospect excited me at first. A quiet house, a chance to relax and unwind. Little did I know that the tranquility would soon give way to a nightmarish reality that would forever alter my perception of the familiar walls around me. It all started innocently enough. The house, an old Victorian nestled at the edge of the woods, was a place I had called home for as long as I could remember. It held memories of laughter, warmth, and the comforting aroma of my mother's cooking. Yet, as I entered the house that night, an unsettling stillness clung to the air. I kicked off my shoes and made my way to the living room, ready to indulge in the blissful silence. The soft glow of the fireplace cast dancing shadows on the walls, creating an illusion of serenity. But as I settled into the couch, a subtle unease crept over me. The room felt different, as though it were holding its breath, waiting for something. I tried to dismiss the feeling, attributing it to the solitude and the unfamiliar hush. that accompanies an empty house. The clock on the wall ticked away, each sound echoing in the quiet room. Just as I was convincing myself that my unease was baseless, a small picture frame on the coffee table trembled, then slid across the surface and fell to the floor. My heart skipped a beat, and a chill ran down my spine. I approached the fallen frame, its shattered glass scattering the image of my family's smiling faces. A gust of wind, I thought, my mind grasping for rational explanations. But the windows were sealed shut, and the air within the room remained undisturbed. Uneasy, I decided to retire for the night, dismissing the incident as a mere anomaly. The wooden stairs creaked beneath my weight as I ascended to my bedroom, hoping that sleep would offer respite from the strange occurrences. Little did I know that the night had just begun its descent into a realm beyond reason. The unsettling events escalated when I was jolted awake by an inexplicable sound. A rhythmic thumping echoed through the silence, emanating from somewhere within the house. My heart raced as I navigated the darkened hallway, the walls seemingly whispering secrets I couldn't comprehend. The source of the noise led me to the attic door, a portal to the unknown that had always been a distant, almost forbidden realm in my home. The stairs creaked with every step, creating an eerie symphony that accompanied the persistent thumping. As I pushed open the attic door, a gust of cold air greeted me, carrying with it a pungent scent of dust and decay. The dim light of the single bulb flickered, casting eerie shadows on the forgotten relics scattered across the attic floor. It was a graveyard of memories, a place where the remnants of the past lay hidden. Amid the dusty boxes and forgotten furniture, I saw it, an old ornate music box seemingly untouched by time. Its lid was a delicate canvas of intricate carvings, frozen in a perpetual state of disuse, the thumping intensified, seemingly emanating from the silent music box. With trembling hands, I dared to touch the relic. The moment my fingers brushed against its cold surface, the attic erupted in a symphony of dissonant melodies. The haunting notes seemed to whisper tales of forgotten sorrow and long-lost secrets. Panic seized me as the lid of the music box began to open, revealing a delicate ballerina frozen in a dance that transcended the passage of time. In the dim light, her porcelain features contorted into a grotesque mask, and her delicate pirouette took on an unnatural, almost malevolent grace. The thumping reached a feverish pitch, syncing with the unnatural rhythm of the cursed music box. Terrified, I stumbled backward, my eyes fixed on the possessed ballerina. The attic seemed to warp and shift, shadows dancing in macabre unison with the haunting melody. As I retreated, the thumping ceased abruptly, plunging the attic into a silence so profound it resonated within the depths of my soul. I fled the attic, the door slamming shut behind me. I stood in the hallway, my breath ragged, my mind grappling with the inexplicable horror I had just witnessed. The night had unraveled into a surreal nightmare, and the once familiar house had transformed into an alien realm of terror. As I sought refuge in the solitude of my bedroom, the unsettling events persisted. Objects moved on their own. Whispers echoed through the corridors, and unseen forces toyed with the fragile fabric of reality. Shadows danced across the walls, contorting into grotesque shapes that seemed to mock the very essence of my sanity. Every attempt to escape the nightmares that haunted my home proved futile. The malevolent forces seemed to feed on my fear, growing stronger with each passing moment. Sleep became an elusive sanctuary, for in the realm of dreams, the horrors persisted, blurring the line between waking and slumber. Days melded into nights, a relentless onslaught of terror that rendered the concept of time meaningless. The once familiar rooms had become a labyrinth of dread, and the very air pulsed with an energy that transcended the laws of nature. Desperation led me back to the attic, to confront the cursed music box that had become the epicenter of the nightmare. The air in the attic crackled with an otherworldly energy as I approached the forsaken relic. The ballerina, frozen in her ghastly dance, seemed to beckon me into the abyss. With trepidation, I closed the lid of the music box, silencing the haunting melody that had ensnared my sanity. The attic fell into an eerie stillness, as though the malevolent forces had been momentarily appeased. A sense of dread lingered, a foreboding awareness that the nightmare had merely receded into the shadows, awaiting an opportune moment to resurface. As I descended from the attic, the air grew heavy with an unsettling calm. The house, once teeming with malevolence, seemed to exhale, releasing me from the clutches of its spectral grip. The shadows retreated, and the whispers that had tormented my nights faded into a distant echo. The scars of that fateful night lingered, etched into the very fabric of my being. The house stood as a silent witness to the inexplicable horrors that had transpired within its walls. The attic, once a sanctuary of forgotten memories, had become a portal to a realm beyond understanding, a place where the boundaries between the living and the supernatural blurred. With the passage of time, the scars healed, but the echoes of that night reverberated through the corridors of my mind. The house, once a haven, became a haunting reminder of the thin veil that separates the known from the unknowable. And as I stood in the entrance, contemplating the shadows that clung to the corners, I couldn't help but wonder if the malevolent forces that had tormented me were merely biding their time, awaiting another unsuspecting soul to dance with the demons in the attic.